Want to keep up with the latest LEGO Maker 96.1 videos? Make sure to subscribe and ring that bell. Hello everyone, LEGO Maker 96.1 here with another video. And happy Memorial Day. Ah yes, Memorial Day. And to remember those who gave their lives fighting for freedom, democracy, and all in the name of the United States. Now, this tradition, mind you, traces back like a couple of years after the Civil War ended, 1868 to be more precise. Originally, it started off with remembering those from the Civil War, but over time, it started remembering those who gave their lives from the Revolution all the way up to present day America. But for me in particular, I want to go over something different. I want to go over my first trip to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Now, we all know the history of Gettysburg and the legacy of the battle. Well, it was the site of the bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil. More than 51,000 guys lost their lives on that field, blue and gray. And it occurred during the American Civil War. A little heads up. Now, I've been up to Gettysburg twice, as a matter of fact. One for a night up there before our trip to Ocean City, Maryland, and the other when the Pope was in town in 2015. Now, for me, I loved Gettysburg. I mean, it is such a wonderful place to visit. A lot of history up there. It has a lot of activities. You can wander the battlefield and learn about where the fighting occurred. You can visit the Round Tops, the Wheat Field, Devil's Den, and Cemetery Hill, Cemetery Ridge, the Lutheran Seminary. A lot of historical sites there. And even Hollywood went up there to film a movie. Yeah, you remember the 1993 film Gettysburg? That was filmed there. It was filmed in and around Adams County. Yeah. In fact, it was this movie, including Gods and Generals, that I got involved in the American Civil War. It was those two movies alone that I saw a lot of other films related to the Civil War. I've seen The Hunley, I've seen Andersonville, Lincoln, what else? North and South, and many other Civil War related films in particular. Now, back in the mid 2010s, I wanted to go to Gettysburg because I want to see the battlefield for myself. And I've asked my folks if they could take me out there, and they said yes, and this was before our trip to Maryland. Now, a couple years later, in 2015, when the Pope was in town, my mother and my father took me up to Gettysburg for a day up there. It was there, we toured the battlefield, and even, this was before I started YouTube, by the way. I've been taking pictures on my phone, and I posted it on my DeviantArt account, and I even recorded it on my camcorder too. Now, I was there in a Union blue sack coat, a muslin white shirt, light blue pants, and boat shoes. They were mock-ups of Civil War brogans, so don't judge. In fact, there's a picture of it right here. Yeah, this was before I got some of the stuff related to the outfit. Now, it was there that I also met a reenacting unit called the National Regiment. And here's how I met these guys. You see, story goes, it was at it was some sort of monument, I believe it was, relating to the 69th New York. It was there I heard a boom, boom. At first I thought, did something happen up there? So my parents and I went out to investigate, and we saw like smoke like a couple of feet away from the Pennsylvania Monument. Until upon further examination, it was a reenacting unit. What they were doing, they were demonstrating the loading and firing of a Civil War musket. And now, mind you, these guys were armed with percussion cap rifles. Well, originally, like after the United States was formed, these guys were armed with flintlock muskets. Now, to load them, you take a paper cartridge, bite the end of it open, pour the powder in the pan, close the frizzen, cast the weapon about, pour the rest of the powder down the barrel of the bullet, ram it down, return the rammer, ready, aim, fire, bang. But back in the 1840s, as America was moving forward and technology becoming more and more advanced, we adopted the percussion cap system. Now, the 1840s was the very last time flintlock muskets were made in the United States military. Now, back then we had the Army, the Navy, and the Marines. The Air Force, Coast Guard, Air Force didn't exist back then. They didn't. If you want to know, look them up. Now, the Civil War, they used percussion cap rifles, as I stated earlier. They were 1841 Mississippi rifles, 1853 Enfields, 1842 Springfields, smooth bore and rifled. Yeah, little known fact, they brought back the 42 Springfield and they rebored it as a rifled musket. And the 1855 Springfield and the 1861 and 63 Springfield. Which, lucky enough, I have the 1861 Springfield. If you saw a video I made of the Civil War, I have that rifle. I got it from a former Confederate reenactor. So, yeah, there's that. And for the sake of this video, I'll be going over a video which I made back in September of 2016 of my first trip of the 1 year anniversary of my time in Gettysburg. So, yeah. But with all that said and done, Gettysburg itself is a wonderful place, and I highly recommend you go there. A lot of history, a lot of activities up there. And speaking of activities, they have paranormal activity goes towards up there. Now, I'm a true believer of the paranormal. I've seen a lot of paranormal investigating shows like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and even Haunted History, which was done by History Channel, when they did an episode or two of Gettysburg. And I have seen Ghosts of Gettysburg, or narrated by Tony J. You know Claude Frodo of Hunchback of Notre Dame? And that creepy guy from Beauty and the Beast? 2 Disney movies? That's it. Now, story goes that I really loved my trip to Gettysburg. I took a lot of fascinating pictures, and I even got a souvenir from a store which I visited online called the Regimental Quartermaster. And I actually got a cartridge box with an early war box plate, and you'll see for yourself, which I will go over in a video later down the line. So there's that. Now, as for the National Regiment, I did look these guys up, and they are a wonderful reenacting group. Now, I've seen a lot of reenacting groups online. Some of them were Confederates, some of them were the Liberty Guard, and many others. And I met a really nice guy named Dave, and I told him he did a wonderful performance. He and his pards, which were a name of comrades during the Civil War, he did a wonderful demonstration. And I asked him if I could go over the loading and firing process of a Civil War rifle and the loading in 9 times, and the manual of arms. And he was kind enough to say yes. And so I actually held his rifle, and I went through the process of loading it 9 times, and I went through the manual of arms. And he actually saw how impressed I was, and he actually gave me some tips on when it comes to the resting of your Civil War firearm. it's best to know your, yeah. But all that said and done, let's go over my 1 year anniversary video of Gettysburg, my day trip up there. Now, the reason why my intro video, well, the clips here are all sped up, is because I was trying to match it like some of the YouTube intros I've seen before. And I even turned the volume all the way down, so that way you won't have to do with any the mess. There's me with my photoshopped hand gone. Now this was before I even done some actual editing. Yeah. I did a lot of research on the Civil War, so well, yeah. I even took pictures of in and around the town itself, including the museums and the battlefield. War has a lot of memorabilia. There's all the artillery, the artifacts. Now, I actually use music from this one YouTuber who actually has some music from the 1993 film Gettysburg. Wonderful music, by the way. The Fife and Drum Corps. A lot of belt buckles, a lot of buttons and insignias. A little heads up, insignia is Latin for sign, just so you know. Small arms, too. Now, both of these rifles you see here were used on both sides, as I said earlier. And there are the outfits. There's the standard Union Blue and the standard Confederate. The Confederate's pretty much more whatever they had, and there's different types of grays. There's light gray, dark gray, medium gray. There's also tan, butternut. They also use wool and jean wool as well. And there's the Gettysburg Address plaque. A wonderful speech, by the way. Just rewatching this, a whole lot of nostalgia. There's the Jenny Wade house where Jenny Wade was killed. There's the station where Lincoln arrived. Incredible. 121st Pennsylvania. I took a lot of pictures. It's on my DeviantArt page, don't ask. There's the 80th. And there's one of the guns I took picture of. And which one of my parents took, by the way. There's Abner Doubleday, one of the guys who invented baseball. There's Reynolds Battery. There's the famous railroad cut where some of the guys in the Iron Brigade fought. It's not just those in the North that fought. There's fellas from Virginia, Mississippi, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Florida. Everyone came up here and fought. Took some New York cavalry regiments. There's the Eternal Light Monument, dedicated by Roosevelt on 1938, 75 years after Gettysburg. Now that's a great shot you see right here. You can imagine, like years back in 1863, the entire battlefield was littered with the dead, the dying, the wounded, and scorched earth, artillery rounds, all that. There's Bobby Lee's headquarters. There's the fellas from North Carolina. And there's a few. Now that's the best view from the 10-pounder or Paragon. There's old Virginia. Virginia. A lot of Virginians there that day. By Virginians, I mean a lot of Virginians who died in that fight. There are the round tops, and this was a view I took it from my father's truck. Drove out and tell watching this again, a lot of nostalgia. Reserves. These were like a couple year regiments that fought in the war as well, before they were disbanded or transferred to other regiments. Now that's the best shot from the round tops. You can see where the Confederates were. Where there's Grosvenor K. Warren, one of the unsung heroes at Gettysburg. There's Devil's Den, where the Johnnies came through. Like I said, there was a lot of fighting in and around Gettysburg. I mean, it really gets you. There's the wheat field. There's old Little Round Top where we see fellas from the 83rd Pennsylvania, New York, and 16th Michigan fought. Right there's the Irish Brigade Monument. Oh no, it was right there, the 66th New York. That's where I heard those gunshots. There's some reenactors. I said, "Hurrah for the Union!" Yeah, see right there. These guys are the National Regiment reenactors, like real good guys. Now, the video clip you will see coming up, they were doing something called the Colonel's Challenge, where you can load and fire 3 shots in a minute, and as fast as you can. Oh wait, didn't it'll come up in a little bit. Now, I do have a Twitter account, or X now, thanks a lot, Elon Musk. And now, one of the reenactors of the National Regiment, or I believe one of the guys involved in the National Regiment, had asked me on Twitter if I could use my video on their website, and so they could see the Colonel's Challenge. And I was polite enough to say yes. And on the website, you could see my video on the National Regiment's website, where I was recording them loading and firing their guns, and I was there cheering them on, saying, "Kill the Rebs! Shoot the Rebs!" I was enthusiastic, and I saw one guy like cheated. I'm like, "You gotta do laundry." Yeah, it was like a real long time, and their camp is impressive too. Took a lot of pictures of the camp as well. Now, Civil War reenactors, both Union and Confederate, they're really dedicated to educate those that were a part of America's past, to make sure that none of this happens again. No Second Civil War, no Third World War. Now, that's the best shot of the Pennsylvania Monument. Now, there were a lot of Pennsylvanians who fought in the Civil War, who died during the Civil War. We have a lot of manpower in Pennsylvania. And there's the National Cemetery where Honest Abe gave his a dress. And there's the store where I got my cartridge box and the regimental quartermaster, and there is my souvenir. A lot of good stuff in that store too, if you want to take up reenacting. Now here's the video. Now Colonel explained that they're doing it by denying counts, no cheating, ramrods must be returned, no handing multiple cartridges. Now those were the rules. And there they go. They're off. They go and fire as fast as possible. Now, if you notice, like, I'm cheering them on, tell these guys to, again, kill the Rebs, shoot the... I tell you, I was enthusiastic because I saw these guys up close, and that one guy struggling there. And there's the first salvo. Ah. I tell you, these guys are really dedicated. And they were in the Shenandoah Valley. They were in... I don't know if they did... I think they did Antietam. Oh. Switch them out. You have one job, guy. Just one. And you blew it. Yeah. Sorry if I'm getting a lot of nostalgia just rewatching this. And if it is a little cringeworthy, I apologize in advance. It's like, this was less than 10 years ago I made this video. This was made in September of 2016. Like, this was many months after I started creating my YouTube channel. And yeah, there's my address. Now, if you want to visit my DeviantArt page, you could just go onto my channel and it's there. So, yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Gettysburg is a lot of fun, a lot of history up there. And speaking of history, Justin Scar was up there. He was up there because his van crapped out, and he had to take it to a shop to get it rebuilt. And while staying in Gettysburg, he was actually filmed some of the sites up in Gettysburg, in and around the town, of course. And when the van is back, like in service, he actually went up to Gettysburg for 159th reenactment of the battle, and actually saw reenactors out on the field doing their demonstrations, like the loading in 9 times, the manual of arms, how the soldier fought, how the way they dress. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and as for the movie Gettysburg, again, I saw the movie. It was one of the movies that got my interest in the Civil War, and I highly recommend you watch it. A lot of good stuff. Oh, and here's a movie trivia fact for you. When the filming of Little Round Top began, it wasn't actually filmed on Little Round Top. It was actually filmed on its sister location called Big Round Top. Just a little known fact for you. So, yeah, and that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. But now, I'd like to give a moment of silence for our fallen and heroes who have gave their lives in service of this great nation. And that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more like this, please feel free to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell notifications so that way you can be notified if I upload the next video. And as always, this is LEGO Mega 96-1, signing off.